In Lesson 3, we describe in brief the history of catalytic capital, the gap it seeks to fill, and the role of the Catalytic Capital Consortium, and how it enabled Tonic to investigate the motivations around the deployment of catalytic capital that we are sharing with you today. Impact investors have been involved in catalytic capital for a very long time. Arguably, the first backers of Grameen Finance, the microfinance initiative launched by Mohammed Yunus in the 70s and 80s, could be considered catalytic capital investors because of the perceived risks and unvalidated track record of the investment proposition at the time. Tonic members have been involved in catalytic capital for over a decade. Some of you may remember the early stage guide for global impact investing, which we launched in 2013-14, and it described how to deploy catalytic capital in early stages social enterprises in frontier and emerging markets. Back then, most of us referred to catalytic capital as impact first investing. And still nowadays, many Tonic members invest in the frontiers of impact investing. In our working groups, we discuss topics such as investing in poverty alleviation, nature-based solutions for preserving nature, deploying capital in underrepresented managers who have been often excluded from access to finance and may not have a track record sufficient for commercial capital. And while not all the investments that we discussed today will qualify as catalytic capital, many certainly do. But impact investing has grown massively in the last decade. There are new players that are coming to the market, including mainstream investors that are embracing impact investing, and large sums of conventional investments are now being deployed into investment opportunities that can achieve both risk-adjusted market rate returns and some degree of positive impact. Yet there remains a scarcity of capital that can spur investments that offer high impact potential, but are not yet in the position to attract commercial investment at scale. Yet this is the kind of capital that is more patient, risk tolerant, and flexible. It's an essential tool to support impact-driven enterprises and organizations that lack access to capital on suitable terms through the conventional marketplace. It can support enterprises generating significant positive impact in areas such as poverty reduction, education, affordable housing, just transition to the challenges of climate change, and more areas that are chronically underinvested. Without catalytic capital, we will not be able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. To help close this gap, a funder consortium called the Catalytic Capital Consortium, or in short C3, was formed by the MacArthur Foundation, Omidyar Network, and Rockefeller Foundation. C3 is an investment, learning, and market development initiative that brings together leading impact investors who believe that greater, more effective use of catalytic capital is an essential component of achieving the Sustainable Development Goal and realizing the full potential of impact investing. C3 has already started to post resources at the link on this page, which will continue to expand as partners that they have funded will complete their work. Tonic was fortunate to be one of the partners that received funding from C3. In 2021, we received a grant from the Catalytic Capital Consortium to increase the knowledge, awareness, and use of catalytic capital among individuals of high net wealth and family offices. As a part of this grant, we involved over 90 investors to understand what are their attitudes towards catalytic capital, motivations, and the main barriers that we need to overcome. We used the insights that we gathered in this research project to create this educational series that you are watching today. And we have also support from C3 to make this content available to the general public. Let's hear from some of the investors that we involved in our research project. Let's start with Sayuri Sharper from California.
Hi, my name is Sayuri Sharper. I have been an impact investor for the last 6 years and have seen tremendous growth in this sector. It's an exciting time with many impact funds attracting not only impact investors, but also mainstream commercial investors looking for above market rate return. I believe, however, that for those of us who have the financial capacity to do more, we should consider deploying catalytic capital to support organizations providing products and services to low-income population that is sustainable and scalable, but do not generate sufficient returns to attract commercial investors. A good example of such an organization is MCE Social Capital, a nonprofit impact investing firm that lend working capital to small agriculture businesses and financial service providers in emerging markets. With a mission to benefit the poor, MCE's investments are by nature higher risk, requiring MCE to look for catalytic capital. With access to catalytic capital, MC has a flexibility to go where the money makes the most impact. With catalytic capital, you won't have the bragging rights for being a savvy financial investor. Rather, you'll get the satisfaction of the multiplier effect of your money in generating greater impact.
Let's also hear
Hi.
from Hedda Palsen-Moller from Luxembourg.
Hi, I'm Hedda Palsen-Moller from time.org. Catalytic capital comes in many variations. Every time you adjust conditions, timelines, amounts, and decouple the rote system of profit maximization and the endless squeeze for short-term returns, you're opening the door to catalytic capital. There's not a simple formula to apply. It's very much a needs-based assessment to maximize the impact and what is best for entrepreneur or fund manager and, of course, the beneficiaries. My themes for catalytic capital tend to focus on topics related to JEDI, justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. It's not always an obvious investment category with endless options across asset classes. So it's where my heart beats, and traditionally I use philanthropic capital, but now explore other financing options to catalyze change. For example, Friendship Bangladesh is an NGO I've long supported in their mission for poverty alleviation and healthcare, and they've been testing new financing models. They started a mangrove venture philanthropy fund. So I'm part of a first mover group investing in this fund, which allows Friendship to signal to others there are experienced investors backing them to build track record, which is critical for first-time fund managers to attract follow-on capital and reach their impact targets. There are many more examples, but I hope that gives you some elements to inspire exploring the domain further. Hi, I'm Hedda Palsen-Moller.
From our internal research, it emerged very clearly that what distinguishes catalytic capital investments for this demographic of high net wealth impact investors is the ability to achieve outsized investor contribution. Let's take other two quotes from our research to describe this very well. I like to think in terms of counterfactual impact. So what happens in a world where I take an action versus what happens in the world where I don't take that action. And I think that this then clarifies a lot of things like additionality and other even more nuanced factors. I consider, is it a piece that is really hard to fund? Are there no other investors available? Is this a sector that traditionally doesn't attract a lot of capital? These investors are stepping into the breach left by conventional finance in order to contribute to a better world.